It's time now for Media Watch, and Olivia Salazar-Winspear is here with us in the studio. Hello there, Olivia. Good to see you as always. We're going to start with the Vietnam summit. Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un sitting down to discuss denuclearization, some scepticism about what might be achieved, but a lot of caricatures doing the rounds.
Yes, it's easy to caricature them, I suppose. And let's start with a lighter look at some of the online reactions to this summit. Here in France, Le Monde had a drawing from cartoonist Plantu depicting Trump and Kim Jong-un in the rice paddies of Vietnam, and it's unclear whether they're burying those nuclear missiles or growing them, perhaps for a future harvest. I think your interpretation of that depends on your level of cynicism. Next to a cartoon that's been doing the rounds on American social media, which shows the two leaders following Michael Cohen's public testimony today, like we all have, Laura, with Trump telling his North Korean counterpart that Cohen, his former lawyer, is just lying, to which Kim Jong-un responds, "I killed my uncle and half-brother, so you don't need to pretend around me." Very biting satire there. And as always, a comic take from The Onion. They show Donald Trump looking very serious there in Vietnam. Trump solemnly lays a wreath at a site where he would have died during the Vietnam War if he weren't rich, because he did not fight in that war. He was exempted from the draft. And that brings us back again to Michael Cohen's speech today, because Cohen revealed that he was asked to diffuse some of the bad press around his exemption from the draft by the president. And he asked Donald Trump to have the medical proof, the document that showed why he was not fit.
He had a foot problem, didn't he, or something?
Yes, something along those lines.
Something bizarre like that.
And he said that he never received that document. He never received those bone spurs, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He never received that document. So.
Yeah. Okay. And what are we hearing from people in South Korea? Because, of course, they are the most affected by what happens this week.
Indeed. And there's a lot of concern in the South Korean press. And if you look at the mainstream press in Seoul, you can see there's some cautious optimism here. This, the headline here is, are we hopefully ending the Cold War? But they are very realistic as well. This progressive paper, Hankyorea, clearly demands that the declarations from the first summit be elaborated with greater specificity. That is, they want to see something concrete here. And they do point out that a bold change of attitude is necessary from the US if they're to achieve the peace that they're hoping for. Now, this editorial in the Seoul-based Chosunilbo asks quite urgently, this is quite a provocative title, why Seoul is opting out of the Korean peace process, why they're so absent in this summit. And it points out again that there was no breakthrough on denuclearization at the first summit, so it would be, quote, wishful thinking to expect them to achieve that this time around. And it accuses the South Korean government of standing aside and allowing the US and the North to decide on its fate. And it signs off quite pointedly by saying that the government urgently needs to get its act together.
All right. Okay, on to a story a bit closer to home. The French sportswear chain Décathlon has had to withdraw plans to sell hijabs, essentially, for women, Muslim women who want to wear it when they're jogging and doing sports.
Yes, indeed.
Because there was such an outcry.
Yes, indeed. Now, the major sports chain, Décathlon, you'll find one in every French town, I think, was advertising a form-fitting hijab, a veil for women to use during sport. And politicians, when they heard about this, had plenty to say about it. Specifically, Aurore Berger, who is part of President Macron's party. In her tweet, she said, sport liberates people, it shouldn't make them submissive, and that this brand doesn't share our values. Now, this tweet was the opening of some floodgates in the media and in politics as well, because people responded either in support of her position or in criticism of it. Senator Laurence Rossignol, and former women's rights minister, was on the same page as her, calling it a prolongation of sexual apartheid. Seems a bit exaggerated. Minister for Women's Rights, current Minister for Women's Rights, Marlène Schiappa, wrote an article in Huffington Post saying that France has to send the right message to women in other countries who are forced to wear the veil, and also the right message to young women here who are scared of going outside the house without their veil. As for Décathlon, as you point out,
well, presumably if they're not allowed to go outside the house, they're not going to be going out jogging with with their hair on show.
Indeed. Well, Décathlon
interesting intellectual gymnastics.
Ceded and said we're just taking it off the market. But there was a lot of criticism from these political views in the French press and the media. You've got the comedian Guillaume Meurice, who's a popular voice on breakfast radio, who said, freedom is apparently having women dress as you want them to dress. And you have a selection of high-profile women here, tweeted by French journalists, including US Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Malala Yousafzai in Pakistan, who all wear the veil publicly and are high-profile, achieving women. But outside of France, the attitude has been very interesting. Really very big criticism from the Washington Post, calling this histrionics over what women choose to wear, and articles in France and Germany and Spain saying that this is the bikini all over again. So this story's going nowhere.
Astonishing, isn't it, in 2019? Anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you, Olivia. Olivia Salazar-Winspear there. Right.